host and executive producer of K Everything, and apparently snail aficionado, Daniel Dae Kim, is with us now. Thank you for being here. For our radio listeners, please describe what we were just seeing on the screen.
So what you saw were what are called king snails, and they are used to produce for their snail mucin, which is the trail that they leave behind as they walk places, and that mucin is now used in cosmetic products, and we went to the factory where this mucin is harvested from these king snails.
I have to tell you, I've used that product. I kind of thought it was a synthetic facsimile.
No,
I didn't realize it was really from the actual
it's
snails.
the literal thing. And so I actually had the privilege of having the snails on my hand, and they're crawling around. They're big. I mean, for the audio listeners, they're like a good 4 inches long. So they're really big. But I will tell you that after I took the snail off my hand and my hand had dried, it was noticeably softer.
Really?
It really was. And so, I'm proof that this stuff actually has an effect.
Tell us about the genesis of this show. Why did you decide to go and make it, to focus on Korean culture?
Well, I've been noticing, how prominent Korean culture has become over the last 10 or 15 years in areas like drama, which is something I'm close to. I've been watching, movies like Parasite win the Oscar, Squid Game becoming Netflix's most watched TV show, K-pop Demon Hunters becoming Netflix's most watched movie. So, it was staring me in the face. And then I realized not only is it, drama, but it's food, it's beauty, it's music. Of course, everyone knows K-pop. And so I thought it was a perfect time to kind of showcase this culture to the world.
Did you not have enough jobs? You needed to come do my job. You're an actor, you're a producer. Now you're doing our job. I was watching this last night. I was getting aggressively jealous because you talk to so many fun people. One of my favorite segments was in the episode we got on K-Beauty, is you go to explain it. It's like when you do your resume in Korea, it mostly a lot of times includes a photo. And you, who, I've known you forever, so I don't like to give you compliments, but, other people find you to be a very attractive man. The amount of photoshopping they did on your face to make it acceptable for a resume is terrifying. And this is like a standard thing?
It is. Well, it's no longer required, but for a while, employers were requiring a photo to go along with your resume. And so Koreans, would start to stretch the boundaries of what they actually look like. So you can go to these photo booth places and you can ask for levels of retouching. And one is like K-pop goddess. and what they do is they'll retouch not only your skin, but they'll make your eyes symmetrical. They'll change your jawline subtly. They'll fix a crooked smile, whiten your teeth, but it's not so drastic that it's not you. But they call it the best version of you.
You make this series, and I imagine you're wrestling with why Korean culture seems to be so resonant globally and so resonant at this moment. What's your thinking on that?
It's a good question. Korea came from a war-torn, poverty-stricken nation just a few generations ago to one of the most modern civilizations in the world. And I think it has something to do with the competitive nature and the pride of the Korean people. And both those things are positives and negatives. So one of the things I did at the end of every interview was ask the interview subjects, what are 5 words you would use to describe the Korean society? And every one of them said competitive.
Is that right?
Yeah. Oh. And so that competitive nature, that drive, actually propels them to succeed in areas in such a short, compressed time. And at the same time, it can make it difficult at times to live there if you're falling behind or perceived to be falling behind.
So talk us through the other episodes. So you did one on K-pop, you did one on K-beauty. What's the breadth of it, and what was your favorite one?
They were all pretty cool, but I have to say, because I'm a stranger in a strange land when it comes to K-beauty, that was the one that I think I had the most fun with. I actually went to a very well-known dermatologist in Seoul and underwent a procedure where she injected salmon sperm into my face.
Salmon sperm.
Sure,
yes.
sure. Yep.
Yeah,
How was that?
It was actually interesting. I'd heard horror stories about people doing laser treatments and they do them and you can't be seen for weeks because you look like a zombie. But Korea's techniques are so advanced that they give you the treatments, and you can go about your business as soon as you're finished. And they're relatively painless. And they're quick.
And they're more
they're
affordable,
cheap.
right?
Yeah, that's the thing. They're super cheap relative to the United States. And so, beauty, cosmetics, tourism is actually on the rise there. There's this one region where, or one part of the city where all the plastic surgery clinics are, and you walk down the street and sometimes you look like you're on the set of Walking Dead because everyone's in like bandages as they're walking down the street and sitting in cafes. It's very surreal.
You opened the door to us talking about the economics of all of this. I'd love to get into that a little bit as well. Yes, there's the massive cultural resonance that we've seen, but this is a huge business. Korean culture, the export of Korean culture is a huge business worldwide.
Yeah, it's a huge business, and it's government supported. There are initiatives on behalf of the government to introduce Korean food to the world. We get into that a little bit into the series. And they've embraced K-pop in such a way that they're active ambassadors for Korea. And anyone who's a prominent figure in the global spotlight is honored there, is encouraged by the government, not in such a way that it's like a communist country, but it is they're celebrated, and they take a lot of pride in those who succeeded.